OMG, chasing the final playoff spot in their group, are now 1 win away from getting a step closer. They haven't locked it down yet, but if they're able to take a victory over Rogue Warriors, that gets them 1 step closer. Because again, this is not an easy setup that OMG have got to run through. They've already played FPX. They've already played WE. That's the 2 teams that are close to them in the standings. They still get a chance to play against Snake, but from there, it's all against stronger names that they have to beat.
Their last 4 games of the series are actually the top 4 teams of the Western Conference. So they have the toughest schedule by far, and they're currently sitting at 6th place. However, that being said, OMG are recently on an upswing. They are playing really well. We've seen Chelly do well here, Icon do well here, so there's still a very good shot. On the other hand, Snake, I think, are the ones that had their stock drop quite significantly, so I think that's going to be the key set going forward in I believe week 9, that we have to see and could very well decide playoff seeding.
OMG, Snake, and FPX, of course, the 3 that are currently vying for that final spot. As WE, they still also haven't been eliminated from it just yet, technically, but a single victory from Snake or FPX and 2 victories from OMG would eliminate them completely. And again, if they lose, they're also out. With that being said,
I actually don't understand this meme.
What's the meme?
They're calling him Sea Duck, which is, I don't know.
a sea duck.
See with your eyes.
Oh, I see a duck?
Well,
maybe it's
I
like
think
the
what the fans
line?
are saying are that I have my eyes on you, SMLZ, and please play the lane a little bit more respectfully. Please not let us see a game where all our hopes are drowned out by 15 minutes because the bot lane tower is no longer there. And
yeah, he hard lost that lane. He tried to take it so aggressively too, so disrespectfully by walking up against Chelly. I'm not sure if that was hubris or disrespect, like, oh, I'm SMLZ, I can outplay this lane. Or, oh, I'm playing against my former team, I want to try to camp that bottom lane as much as I can.
Well, I just think that SMLZ, you do see him go through these phases where he plays super aggressive. He thinks like, you know, he's a god, he's Icarus, he's flying high, he's close to the sun already, and then he comes tumbling down, the wax melts, and he collapses onto the earth and realizes that godhood was not to be.
The tragedy of Icarus, also known as the tragedy of SMLZ. And it is so true, because as such a veteran player, he was always slated to be one of the next prodigy AD carries. I think it was Uzi that took that title away from him after Name ended up stepping away. Always in Uzi's shadow.
Yep, SMLZ has been playing for a long time. He has always been, in my view, kind of the second best alongside with Uzi, especially in these 2 years. But he really doesn't have the record to back it up compared to the EDG ADCs, and of course Mystic, who's gone to Worlds and been in that semifinals. So even though he does have the domestic recognition, I don't think that he's really elevated his status to 2nd place yet. That's the one thing that I think you can criticize about it. He's only been to Rift Rivals.
Yeah, he has only been to Rift Rivals. Ugh, SMLZ. If you want to take the titles, if you want to move on past this, you've got to not disrespect lanes like this. It takes discipline. That's why we're finally that's why we were finally commending Uzi, because he's no longer disrespecting his opponents. He's no longer over-aggressing in lanes. Look, was no longer before this. Now he's finally back, and it's like, okay, well, some of the old habits are back as well.
Coach, can I lock Bane? No.
Look, I'm just saying, we're not seeing a first pick Jhin lock in yet for SMLZ either. So there's still something that can be learned from him and grown over time.
There is one thing that we can commend SMLZ about, and that is his champion pool and how diverse he's actually been playing this entire meta. You know, he's just brought back the Misfortune, had a great showing on it. So strong in lane. He's played Ryze in the bot lane. He's played Karthus in the bot lane. That was, I think, the main pick that he brought to Rift Rivals as well. And I'm going to have to look through his data because there's 17 picks.
There's a lot of champions. The guy plays a lot of things.
Yeah, and he plays a lot of these things off meta as well, just to kind of throw people off on balance. Oh, he's also a big Heimer player.
So, do you think we're going to get something new from SMLZ in the bottom lane this time?
I'm saying you can never know what SMLZ is playing until he actually locks it down. And I want to give him some credit because he not only has the most kills, he does his hyper carry job very well in the LPL, he also is willing to play a secondary position. He can play for things that are just there to push lane in and not really be the damage carry sole source for his team. He's very willing to go into that role as well. So we've seen him on things like the Sivir and the Heimerdinger where he's just in the bot lane and pretty much shackled to the bot lane.
He's able to. I don't know if he's necessarily willing to after what we saw from him in that game 1. I mean, you said it best during the game. The coach of Rogue Warriors did his job. Stake set them up with the composition, but it came down to the execution. He's hoping to do the same thing here in this game too, as Ryze is the adapted ban out of OMG. That does mean Kled is open, and we are seeing a Camille counter pickup. That does mean that Rakan will pass over to Rogue Warriors if they decide to take it.
Very interesting draft here. They're taking away everything Flawless has been known for. His best champions, outside of the Lee Sin, of course, Camille and Nocturne. Those very strong level 6 engagers have been taken away. On Rogue Warriors side, we still see pretty much the same bans. 8.14 hasn't changed Aatrox whatsoever. Still perma-banned in the meta.
He's so strong. And then we buff him. I don't know. I don't understand it.
But once again, you know, Flawless going back to that that role he has on Rogue Warriors, level 6 engage, going for the Sejuani, a much more popular pick in the LCK with a much higher win rate. But in the LPL, we don't really see it as that good of a pick because of the pre-6 issues that you do run into with Sejuani. Things like the Zinzao, things like the Trundle can actually punish you quite hard, and that's why we see Rogue Warriors setting up the Trundle ban before going into the Sedge. Yeah,
perhaps that does mean that we could see a bit more patient play during the early laning phase. SMLZ, passive laning phase.
Do it.
We'll see, as Alistar is the pickup for OMG. Look, Icon's just being silly. He's actually, I think he's trying to bait out Doinby here by hovering some of the champions that he's played in the mid lane, namely that Poppy. Don't know what the Wukong is, but hey!
Is anyone surprised? Is anyone really surprised? You ban this man from Kled. It's almost close to 20 games at this point, and he just comes back with you at it again. The champion that won Rift Rivals for China, or at least kept Rift Rival hopes alive for China.
Yeah, Kled spiked it up, or set it up, and RNG knocked it down.
And Rogue Warriors is still 100% win rate on Kled mid.
That's a lot!
That is a lot.
That is a lot.
You actually can't go higher. I believe it's 5 games, and afterwards he wasn't able to play it after Rift Rivals.
Well, I mean, also, I love how he immediately locks it in when it's available on the first round here.
This is a ballsy play. This is saying that you have to stick with your signature pick. Because if you do this all the way to playoffs, like Rogue Warriors are already set into playoffs. If you do this all the way to playoffs, you kind of force other teams to ban it.
Yeah.
I will stand by my main.
It could open something new for Rogue Warriors if there is a ban constantly limiting that potential champion pool, maybe opening some room for SMLZ's 80 carries, as largely the marksman pool hasn't been touched in this phase between OMG and Rogue Warriors, in fact in the bans at all so far. So we'll see if they save counter pick for Mouse here. Well, they actually already see the counter pick, as Xayah is banned away. They know that that Ornn is going top for Xiong.
And they're already targeting away the potential draft of Gangplank. We typically do see Mouse take that into the Ornn matchup. It does pair up very well with Kled's initiation.
Mundo is the champion of choice. Chelly gets his chance to look at another hyper carry in the bottom lane. At that Kaisa, locks it in. Oh boy!
Oh wow!
Icon!
This is actually a very good counter into Kled. So this Fiora is actually going to be going mid for Icon. We have seen him do this before, not successfully I will add, but it is a very strong counter answer to Kled.
Baited and outsmarted. Yep. Icon with the last second Fiora twist. Now, Rogue Warriors, they see the chance to play Doinby's signature champion, as you said, 5-0 on it. He immediately leaps to the charge, leaps to the fray. Perhaps they're going to send Icon top.
Okay.
There they go.
This is what they want.
Because they can flex lanes as well.
Yep.
If Icon is more comfortable on the Ornn and maybe Xiong is more comfortable on the Fiora, then send it towards those different lanes.
The way this matchup works is that Kled actually lacks the sustained damage to compete with Fiora. Fiora with her ultimate also is much more useful in the dueling situation. So past 6, Fiora just is able to split push against Kled. And that's the big thing about Doinby's Kled. He's such a good split pusher in the side lanes when he's up against those mage matchups. There's really no answer, but with a Fiora, you can match him in the 1-3-1.
Things already looking a little bit dire for Rogue Warriors as they step into the trap of OMG in Game 2. And OMG, they clearly have done their homework for this matchup, heavily camping the bottom lane, playing around the map, pulling Rogue Warriors apart, playing defensively when Rogue Warriors were getting a little bit desperate with some of their plays. And now in pick and ban for Game 2, they set themselves up with counter pick in that mid lane for Icon, the Hitman, to effectively attempt to neuter Doinby on his signature champion of Kled.
They have great solo lanes on OMG's side. Camille buffing up the 2 lanes already, and Mundo is one of those champions that doesn't really have a lot of escape tools. If you can visit that lane early and with the CC of Ornn, you could shut Mouse down quite heavily, and that's what I expect to see out of OMG's roster.
Now, if the game does go late, things might be a bit scary, though they do have the Kaisa to try carrying them through. As already, Rogue Warriors in Chengdu are going to try their absolute hardest to pull this apart. I see you laughing there. What's got your attention?
Now I'm just looking at your notes and trying to figure out the last picks.
Crazy note picks, note taking.
So we do see Ezreal coming out
yeah.
from SMLZ.
Yes.
Just trying to keep at a safe distance away from the Fiora. I do really like the Fiora pick. It's such a good counter into Kled, and if you think about the composition, the front lane they have already, it's actually very difficult for Kled to find the target into the back line. Kled is a Cavalier. The way he wants to play is basically rush into, you know, the fleeing back line of the enemy composition and just use that 1 rotation burst damage of the violent tendencies to take someone out. But against Camille, who can lock you down, against Ornn, who can provide a front line, against Fiora, who can just reposit against you, it's actually very hard for Kled to do his job. So that's going to be the biggest question of Doinby. Can he keep that 100%, that brand name alive?
On Kled, yeah. I mean, Flawless was doing the exact same thing in Spring Split with the unkillable Lee Sin, the undefeated Lee Sin. Takes it against Invictus Gaming at the last chance possible and gets absolutely served.
He still can't say he was undefeated in regular split.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what I put in my article. He was undefeated
in regular season. Parentheses, got destroyed by IG in playoffs. That was a set. That was one heck of a set. Again, to update you folks at home, we did have a lobby crash. We are remaking with the same picks and fans, so players will be racing through as quick as possible.
It's actually crazy to think about Rogue Warriors as our new team in the LPL. They did not exist before 2018. Their hopes coming into this conference, coming into the league, are actually fairly low. I remember saying that I'm excited about Rogue Warriors and having a couple of you laugh in my face. Like,
it was for support. We just wanted to properly haze to make sure that you knew the risks of supporting a team in the LPL.
That's true. I mean, if you look at what Rogue Warriors has done, they've taken a bunch of stars that didn't really have the record to prove themselves. The actual best player in terms of performance, you would have to say, was Mouse.
Yeah.
Mouse made a lot of those playoffs. He was part of the EDG squad. But if you look at Doinby, JD
and Newbie,
they did miss playoffs.
Yeah.
Previous split.
And
Kahlua
then,
was unknown.
Last time Doinby went to playoffs was 2015 with Chowgu, I believe. Finally getting a chance to take it back. But I suppose that is more a conversation that we wanted to set you up for what it means to be a fan of a team in the LPL. As you have so quickly learned.
Heartbreak.
With Rogue Warriors today.
Disappointment.
With LGD over the past few weeks.
Hey, I stand by my LGD boys.
Still?
Hey, they're actually a decent team.
Okay,
I'm not saying they're playoff worthy, but
earlier today, you literally said I'm off the hype train for them. Word for word.
I'm off the hype train for them going beyond playoffs, but I still think they're a decent team. Oh, think about it this way.
Sure.
I believe LGD probably has, in terms of roster strength, a better team than TOP.
Okay, sure.
I think that's definitely provable. Y4, Jinu, Amy's been showing up, Yuki, of course, in the mid lane. I'd say he's better than Korn.
You're not saying PYL though.
PYL has his ups and downs. That's one hype train I'm not touching. PYL is known as the god of death.
That's a hype roller coaster, I feel.
He is actually known as Lucifer
the
in
god
the LPL.
Of death, yeah.
But he only takes his own life, so that's the reason why, you know, it's kind of, I'm kind of sketchy on that.
Tongue-in-cheek about it, yeah. But even with JD right now, they are 12-2. They've got Coach Ohm, previously of Team WE, who took WE to semifinals. JD. Yeah, they're 12-2. Just you wait, Clement.
Okay, JD. I wanted to make the claim that I feel like JD actually presents the best games of the LPL. They're extremely fast-paced. They're very good team-fighting team for such a young team. Like, young teams typically have problems with their spacing, with when they actually want to engage. That's not the case for JD Gaming. You could actually...
I think outside of Barons, it used to be, but they've cleaned up their Barons lately as well. Still, most of their wins have been 2-1s, and not pretty 2-1s. It should be said.
All right. I know.
Are you about to caveat it?
No. So this is my big discussion with Frost. Like, she actually doesn't like them going for like the second game shenanigans, and I agree that they probably didn't plan on losing them. But I think it's great to experiment when you've already won the first game. There's actually no harm done. And if you look at their record, they typically do pull out new picks in the second game.
Yeah.
And then they lose them. which is a bit bad, but they come back and win. They're still settled.
For now.
Like, they've never lost to RNG before, which is a massive point. And I actually think that they could finish the split with another win over RNG and take second place.
Ooh. Them's fighting words. They went 1-2 against RNG.
Oh, really? They already played RNG?
Sorry, they went 2-1.
Yeah, they went 2-1.
When the first game in the Beijing Arena, where it was. Have they played RNG yet?
No.
So we get a rematch.
We get a rematch, and if they go through, because the standings are so close between RNG and JD Gaming, JD could go to your second place, and that has massive implications.
Yeah, it should be noted, JD currently are 12-2, RNG are 12-4, as they have played 2 more games and lost them. So already things looking a little bit better for JD. Statistically higher chance, considering their opponents as well, IG, RNG.
We would consider that a 1 series lead. But here we are, going back into OMG versus Rogue Warriors.
Finally, we get the chance to load onto the Rift. The lobby has been remade. We've already gone through pick and ban. And now we get to see OMG with the counter composition ready against Rogue Warriors. Can they bring it down and close the series out here, or will Rogue Warriors run us back to Game 3? Were they shouting at the same time? Where are the Rogue Warriors chants?
Well, maybe they're coming? I guess we shouldn't hold our breaths for it.
Okay. Icon with the taunts against Doinby's Kled. Where are the emotes, Icon? Oh, missed the vital though. And eats the bear trap on a rope, gets pulled back in.
All right, round 1 definitely goes to Doinby. Icon, still misses
gets
it.
The conk. Trying to look for some damage.
So in terms of the early laning phase, I actually like the Kled matchup into Fiora. You do have a bit more HP, and let's watch this level 1.
That's Gleaming Quill start from Killua.
Look at Asamozi. He's a lucky man today.
What do you say? Oh, he does get the gold, yeah.
1 Q, 1 bag of gold.
Value, high value. Doinby, ooh, missed that one. Because the wave is going to start pushing in. Already Killua getting close to having that plasma procced. Do not want.
Yeah, it's not a level 1 that OMG actually wants to contest. Can't really do much as Alistar level 1, and Kai'Sa isn't so hot either. Definitely would be forced out. Rogue Warriors should probably snowball into their level 2, and they could potentially meet up with Flawless.
Currently, he is on that bottom side of the map taking Gromp. Let's see if he heads over to Scuttle Crab or decides to go for that Wolf Camp.
I've never seen Icon spam so many taunts, and I'm not sure we're supposed to hear them this loudly either.
Oh, there's the riposte. That's the interaction that makes this matchup so strong, as you get hit by the bear trap on a rope, and then you can just trigger riposte for a stun.
But here is where Kled actually wins out pre-6, because your main damage source actually isn't the Q.
It's the violent tendency.
It's the violent tendency.
Yeah.
So once the riposte is out, you just go straight in onto the Fiora, and you can see Icon's actually trying to play a little bit back.
Playing around the cooldown of that violent tendencies. Again, it's not active all the time, so now that he sees it has been used to clear a minion wave, he can step up and start trying to get some last hits here. He's keeping the wave pushed in, though. As, ooh, that's going to be some good damage. Early riposte. Doimi even gets knocked off of Skarl.
Great exchange there. Just understanding the violent tendencies is probably up. You want to make sure you get the violent tendencies off onto your riposte, take away the damage from Doimi. And this is a very awkward situation for him.
Both junglers are here. They're looking for Doimi, but Flawless is there as well. The flash. They're targeting Jekko over the wall. He flashes to safety. That is 2 flashes for 1 in favor of OMG.
To be honest, I feel like Doimi actually played his hand a little bit too much in that fight. There was no real chance that they killed Jekko. Jekko did flash out in time and get over the wall, so he wasn't stunned on close to Doimi. But I felt like that was a flash that if I was Doimi, I would rather keep.
Uh-oh, here we see another gank. Flawless looking for Xiang. That's the volcanic rupture, a stun, the knockback. Late flash, and he goes down. First blood to Mouse's Mundo.
Well, a little bit unfortunate for Xiang, could not back out fast enough. You could tell that Camille Jekko was already on the way, but he was in a very low health situation.
Didn't get the chance to help. And we've seen what happens when Mouse snowballs on Mundo. Hint, it ends with a killing spree and going 1 versus 4.
It's absolutely disgusting. Mundo on 8.14 though has been nerfed quite substantially. The main thing is that you can no longer safely farm with your Q without losing HP. You now do take 20% HP loss on the Q cleavers if you're just farming a farm, and you do get the kills with it. So it's not full regen.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing his base regen is so high to cover and offset that cost. As a reminder, our match of the week is tomorrow. Invictus Gaming looking for a game against Royal Never Give Up. 13-1 for IG, RNG at 12-4. These are 2 massive teams about to clash once again as RNG bringing Uzi back. But is it enough?
I'm just so glad that these 2 teams are in the same conference.
Getting to see them play each other twice.
Yep.
Now we do see Rogue Warriors taking early control of the map. Scryer's Bloom will spot Flawless taking that late scuttle. As we get towards that 6-minute mark, it's about an 800 gold advantage.
On the side of Rogue Warriors, of course, their composition really does scale out into the later phases of the game. We have seen them run this before. They find those moments where the enemy team is split, and then they run all 5 members straight into your team composition.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Looking for Killua, but just forcing the battle dance by stacking up the cowbell. It's like getting ready for the beat to drop. You know it's coming. There's really nothing you can do except take the hit.
Ooh, and this is going to be a very rough lane from Doimi from this point onward. Level 6 already hit, and this is where no matter what you do, you can't actually outplay the Fiora anymore. She just has too much sustained damage for you to deal with.
That's the riposte. Here comes Flawless, but Doimi off of Skarl doesn't really get a chance to contest this. Even Flawless is hovering around to help him push this in and allow Doimi to either roam or get it back.
Yeah, with a Camille running on the map, you really don't want to be unmounted as a Kled in this matchup. So Doimi is actually, this is pretty smart from them. He can't stay in the lane anymore. They still want to do things, so they just have him move around and try to take
Head
Fred.
bottom.
This is ingenious.
Oh man, they're Doimi's waiting for the violent tendencies and takes the red buff. Doesn't get any rage off of it though, so doesn't have level 6 approaching and cannot dive bottom as a result of it. Well, he does have level 6, but doesn't have Skarl approaching, I should be clear. And look at this. This is like a funnel strategy, but instead of a jungler, it's a mid laner.
That's actually pretty smart. The reason that OMG are not looking to... Wait a minute.
Doinby, he's close to Mega, but not there yet. That's a good riposte at Icon. What a play! The Hitman strikes again.
That was insane damage calculation coming out from Icon. I did not expect Doinby to fall down that fast.
Give him the thumbs up, Icon. Show him what's what.
I want to see that replay again. So what I expect happened is that he saw the vitals being in a good position where he could do a double proc. Like you see the original vital, you go up, proc that, and then you instantly have the ultimate down as well. Or I don't see how he could have gotten so much damage so fast onto Doinby. One hit up. Ooh, still a flash.
SMLZ. He's thinking
going
about it for the minion wave. Oh!
So close.
Max range. Whoop. And Jelly is like, this is how you do it. And then hits him with the Void Seeker all the way back. Now Doinby, he's actually still hanging out over here along with Flawless. Oh no, they found 5 in melee range. He's
no
level
ult.
5, and like you said, he has no ult. Stunned against the wall. SMLZ shows up, flash. Doinby's there. Here comes Jetco, but Doinby finds himself a kill and gets himself on the board.
Probably don't want to overchase this. Use a lot of ultimates in that fight. Both of them down, so... Rogue Warriors are just going to bank on the fact that they have more members in this fight, but...
They're looking to go for Icon right now. He flashes away. The stun is still ready. Hextech ultimatum locks him in place. Jekko also flashes away, looking for a counter gank.
No flash trade coming out from the junglers, but an extra flash taken away from Icon's side.
That does limit some of the outplays Fiora can make, especially when she's already got that first kill. And let's take a look at that kill once again onto Doinby.
Oh, he didn't even proc the first vital. It was 2 vitals only, and he was able to kill him. A 3rd vital and the E at the end.
The auto attack reset. Ooh, Icon.
Yeah, real
Styling.
spicy.
And this is why we call him the Hitman, because he takes these solo kills off of just about everyone, using the riposte right on top of the Glacial Prison from Flawless to set it up and stun Doinby. The turnaround. Flawless had to have known. He had to have known.
Yeah. That's just the reaction from Icon. Actually killing Doinby in the process. Doinby could have gotten out of that situation if he wasn't stunned for 1.5 seconds.
Riposte is so strong, but now that does mean that we see a CS advantage for Icon. He has got blades on blades on blades. And Doinby, he's trying to go for a bit of a different route, that standard Kled. Doesn't have his second charge back up just yet, and he is getting push pressure in the mid lane to take this dragon.
You can see the Doinby thought process. He doesn't really care about winning lane or keeping pressure here. All he does want to do is make sure he can get the roams down. We've actually had a lot of footage of Doinby playing the lanes quite poorly, to be honest, but the way that he snowballs with Kled is always going to the bot lane, mainly to the bot lane.
There have been times where he's gone top. I mean, that was a strategy that he popularized with Klid.
Well, if
back on
SMLZ
JD.
is
yeah, well,
top,
true. That's
well,
fair.
then they go top.
Icon! I love this guy. I'm surprised Doinby isn't emoting back as Icon is dropping it again and again. He's trying to bait it in, but I'm not sure it's a bait that Icon wants. Oh no, your hubris might be getting the better of you. A late riposte. He dashes back. He's still alive. Finally goes down, and Doinby answers back with his own thumbs. He's going to be knocked up and will die as the 2 mid laners are dead. And OMG collapse, finding 2 kills to Rogue Warriors 1.
Icon may fall down, but his bait did work in the end, forcing Rogue Warriors to overcommit. And look at the position he took. That was a great animation cancel. What he did was the Q into riposte, so he looked like he was riposting backwards, and was able to pull himself and Rogue Warriors into a position where his teammates could easily do the cleanup. He's just taunting them. He's inside Doinby's head at this point.
Like we said, Icon is a player who doesn't just play League of Legends. He doesn't just play the matchup of Fiora versus Kled. He plays the player. And that's clearly what we saw. Doinby rises to the bait. He says, oh, we got this easy.
So there's no ultimate on Doinby. Nothing lost with him being unmounted. But look at Icon here. Does get the last Q after the riposte, sorry, not animation cancel, and draws Doinby and the Rakan into a very bad position. Xiang comes up, double knock up, just easy cleanup.
the remaining collapse from OMG. And there are upsides and downsides to being an emotional player. So often we talk about what happens when Doinby rises under the pressure, under the lights, under the spotlights, but that was kind of embarrassing. I'm not sure that's something that he exactly wants to rise to the bait of once again. Icon!
And here's the big question. Can Icon keep Doinby from roaming? Can he keep him locked into the lane? He already has the sustain. He will out-damage the Kled. But without his jungler 2v2, it's actually going to be a little bit difficult for him to push this wave all the way in.
Now, it should be noted, so often we talk about emotes and seeing emotes in the game and how it sets up and can bait these plays. It is possible to mute emotes on the tournament server, just like it is on live. So if Doinby did drop that emote at the end, that does mean that he did have them enabled and saw that play coming. We have to wonder if he popped open the scoreboard and muted it afterwards.
You can't let someone diss you.
/ mute all! That's the number one thing you gotta do when you get in the game.
No. Like, you have to take it, and you have to rub it in their face after you defeat them. That's the way you have to do it.
But we just saw what happens when they rise to the bait like that.
I can't
OMG
believe I said diss.
play.
That's something I haven't said since the 90s. But
since the 7th grade, junior high.
You have to see it. You have to play the mental game. These are competitive players. Okay, here's the big thing. Now, Doinby has found a chance to roam down, and you can look at the bot lane from OMG. They're scared.
It is a Kaisa with Guinsoo's first for Jelly. He did go for Fleet Footwork, which is the safe-oriented build, knowing he is up against a very scary bottom lane, but that was the roam threat you were talking about. Doinby pushes up the wave, and that means the bottom lane from Jelly and 5 have to back away.
They give up a lot of CS on that single push, and we do have to talk about the build coming out from Kaisa, from Chelly. He understands that they have an AD mid lane, so he is going for the AP, just to buff up the damage a little bit. Make sure they have a diverse profile.
Does have a bit of flexibility, but as you said, making sure that damage distribution is largely even. And still constant push threat from Doinby. Using that Tiamat on cooldown to clear out waves faster than Icon because that roam threat is so strong. They immediately use the ultimate onto Xiong. No hesitation.
Yeah, that was the correct move from Xiong, by the way. It's so interesting to watch how Rogue Warrior is actually playing this out because they don't actually have an advantage in the mid lane, but they're rotating so fast with Rakan that they're actually creating priority through motion.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting concept that they're pulling off right here.
Using movement around the map to open up that priority. Well, now Rogue Warriors, they're tied 3-3 in kills, even in gold right now. Even Gieko is starting to get in on the taunts. I love it. This is turning into a spicy matchup.
They should force them to taunt in English, just for our viewers.
Spectate in the English client.
Yeah.
Even Icon's getting in there. He has a controller in the
started
buff.
from the game, like from minute 0. He was taunting mid
Well, yeah,
already.
but the taunt, you can only hear the taunt if the enemy has vision of you. He was in a bush with a control ward. That was just for him.
That works. Have to get your mojo going.
Yeah. I love it. Love it so much. Jiko's looking for a gank bottom, but he has been spotted by a ward. There he goes. That's the sweeper. Knows he's been spotted, though. Even though Killua is back, SMLZ is just holding this wave. He's got True Shot Barrage. Flawless and Doinby looking for the roam once again. No charge for Doinby this time.
They're looking to make a play before Xiang's teleport does come up. I actually feel like if Rogue Warriors run into OMG in a straight 5v5, it would be like a Ferrari running into a brick wall. The brick wall would win, and you would hopefully be insured.
Is the brick wall made out of paper mache?
The brick wall is made out of OMG muscle.
Out of brick. Yeah. Fair trade, fair trade. They are just going to use that rotation priority to take the Ocean Dragon, though. Why a Ferrari?
Because it goes fast.
And
I don't know all about cars.
Okay.
There you go.
I feel like there's a whole...
Does a Tesla go fast enough? I don't know.
There's a whole world of exploration we could talk about which team is which car. Whoa! As Doinby misses a minion, but makes his way back, still playing safe around Icon, who's about 20 CS ahead off of playing that mental game against Doinby. A majority of the taunts have stopped, albeit for the time being, though I am sure SMLZ will get the chance to drop a few taunts as the game goes on.
Yep, this game is just kind of stagnating because neither side has really the ability to hit each other's towers. They're just using priority to go somewhere. Currently, Rogue Warriors does have the lead. They're taking most of the river objectives, but nothing's really being forced. I think the big moment for all of this is still going to come down probably to the next Infernal. See how that setup works.
Already the first picked up by Rogue Warriors, and they've got some more sustain. But still, it's just constant maneuvering around. Push a wave in, roam around. They're looking for the Rift Herald right now. This could be a way to break down that brick wall. Let Shelly do it for you.
Great answer.
Why use the Ferrari in front when you can use a bulldozer? And then put the Ferrari behind it. They're actually teleporting in. Five is looking to start a fight. Another teleport to match it. As both AD carries join in, all the Forge God is going to hit a knock-up onto two. In the back, they found Killua. He tries to reset out, but will die. They managed to get a stun, and now it's front to back for Rogue Warriors as they're diving in. But Shelly is still alive in the back, and this is the brick wall that you were talking about, except the brick wall fights back. That's not fair at all. It's a double kill for both carries. Shelly and Icon, and SMLZ will escape with his life.
Amazing target selection coming out from OMG. They go onto the Rakan immediately, cutting him out of the fight. So he did use all of his CC, but there was zero follow-up coming out from Rogue Warriors. It was a really good segmenting of the fight, and you can see Killua. He's kind of wondering, how should I go in? He's waiting for the Oran Horn to come down, but Jiko surprises him over the wall, puts the Hextech ultimatum on him, and he just goes down instantly. Look at SMLZ. He can't go into the fight because Xiang is looking to pin him directly against the wall. He tries to stay very careful, but still gets knocked up. And it's just been a scenario where OMG's carries are doing damage throughout the entire thing, while Rogue Warriors carries are brick walled.
Yeah. Except the brick wall has fists.
Exactly.
And can punch back. This draft is just expert from OMG. They set up the bait with the Kled setup, allow Rogue Warriors to take it, then last pick blue side, get the Fiora answer to keep Doinby locked in that mid lane. Though we're still seeing Rogue Warriors rotate around the map, they have been stalled out so effectively that a lot of core itemization has been finished for OMG. The Kaisa is online. No Nashor's Tooth just yet, as that's still sitting on the Stinger, but already doing massive damage, and now is pretty effectively snowballed with the 202.
I'm a Kled main, and there's so many champions on OMG's team that would give me a headache. Running into an Ornn, not fun. You know, trying to get your ult off when Camille's around, pretty hard to do as well.
Yeah.
So the big thing about OMG's composition is if they can get ahead enough where they have map control, they always stay grouped as a 5v5. There's very little chance for Rogue Warriors to come back. Kled is not a champion you want to take 30-40 minutes into the game.
Well, the big scare is that right now we're seeing OMG use a split push to start breaking down some side turrets. Doinby's trying to do the same bottom. Xiang having a bit of a difficult time clearing out this minion wave, though he does land a knockup and get some good damage. Rift Herald was just used by SMLZ, who picked it up in that last fight bottom, while Icon continues to push up top. And no! Shelly! Shelly gets distracted by the minions. Icon, hits all four vitals, and Mouse is forced to flash away. Even Five was trying to get in there for some more CC and buy Icon some more time, as the stun will land onto him. Flawless just doing some damage as he escorts him out of the jungle.
And here's where you're going to see the scary Icon really emerge. He does have teleport, so he can play in the bottom side, while Doinby can't really afford to do so. If Doinby is in the bot side and Icon pushes him in, it's a massive opportunity for OMG. They're going to get so much map control off of that single matchup.
Rogue Warriors might be trying to upset that as they bring Killua and Flawless top to try and keep him safe. But the moment Icon sees Doinby, he starts a recall just to be safe in case there was a dive. And Doinby, he's going to start eating some hits. Lunge to disengage the bear trap on a rope.
Does play quite respectfully. To be honest, Icon could probably kill Doinby without his ultimate. Oof.
That bad, huh?
It's a very bad
Ooh.
matchup for Kled.
Yeah, there it goes. That's the one. That's
He's
the
totally
riposte.
willing
There he
to go
goes.
in.
Now he starts to step up the ignite from Doinby. Oh, Icon
God.
takes the bait and flashes to sidestep the stun. What an outplay. This guy.
His ultimate just came up, and he was able to use a sudden burst of speed from the vitals.
Yeah.
Just dodge out of everything that Flawless was throwing at him. Like,
Holy
it's an
cow.
incredibly one-sided matchup for Kled versus Fiora later on. You just don't have the sustained damage to deal with it, and Fiora's going to be healing up the entire way through just through her itemization. Does have the Ravenous Hydra for the lifesteal as well.
Huge sustain. And of course, Trinity Force is on the way to make that even scarier. He's pushing all the way up to a tier 2 right now as red buff is being stolen. Jekko happy to take that without even needing to smite. As Icon pulls the attention of Rogue Warriors, he's already worked down that last remaining tier 1 turret. And OMG, they've got Rogue Warriors on a line right now, and they are being pulled around the map. Even Chiyoung is tracking Mouse on this other side.
Icon does have a chokehold onto Doinby. Doinby doesn't have teleport. He can only play on the top side. Let's watch that again.
Like vital after vital. One,
Yep.
2 vitals.
Oh, blocks the Q proc as well. Ignite does come down, but he still goes in.
Whoa.
Flashes away from the ultimate from Sejuani, but fight after fight.
Yeah, they're looking for the stun. They managed to find it as they get the knock up and chase it further down. Jekko inside of the Guardian Angel will get dropped. A 2-man knock up from 5, but it's not enough as Chelly is dead. Icon is still pushing on a tier 2 on the opposite side of the map as Rogue Warriors are able to find a split OMG and pick up a few kills. Headbutt denies the bear trap on a rope, but Icon has already made it worth it by taking another tier 2. They're diving onto the turret here. Mouse eating some turret shots, doesn't really care too much, and the stopwatch, they're still there. Mouse happily taking these hits. Chiyoung gets the shield, and it's a double kill as Mouse eats yet another hit and survives.
And a 4-man wipe coming out from Rogue Warriors. OMG venture out just a little bit too far. Forget about the Kled ultimate was unused in the previous fight, I believe, and just able to use it instantly onto OMG. Like, they see Icon pushing in the top lane. OMG steps a little bit too far forward, and that's how you punish it. You never try to run your Ferrari against a brick wall. You try to run it when there is a gap.
In the opening in between, platform 9 3/4 is what RW are trying to shoot for. This time they find an opening, and it all starts from OMG thinking they can take a fight. The brick wall steps up to punch back, but split on the other side of the map, and they can't do it.
Great play from Sejuani and the double knockup coming out from Killua as well. The angle is the main thing, though, that really starts this fight. Kled able to make sure that some of the OMG players could not get away. OMG didn't want to give up on Alistar, and unfortunately have to stay for the fight.
It should be noted that Chelly did have Flash, as he was the one who was caught by Killua. So perhaps could have looked for the Flash reaction to Killua's Flash quickness. But it's a shoulda, woulda, coulda, as in the end he gets it as MLZ with a clean sidestep, keeps himself safe. But now we're getting to the 26-minute mark. We're starting to get a little bit more into the late game. We see Rogue Warriors taking fights. They're at 2 items on that Ezreal, 2 items on that Kled in the mid lane. But OMG have got so much more room to scale with the Fiora, with that AP Kai'Sa. They can be massive if this game goes on for too much longer. Whereas Rogue Warriors, that brick wall is only going to become reinforced.
OMG have to play very carefully when they're split pushing with the Fiora. There's actually no way for Fiora to deny Mouse the teleport, and Rogue Warriors could honestly do the same play once again. And even with the teleport onto Icon, I don't think you would be able to stop a 5v4 charge. It just happens so fast. They have the Rakan as well, that teleporting is not a sufficient answer to deny that play.
It'll probably take a much larger stack of people to kill Icon at this point.
So, to be honest, I would prefer Icon still to be in the top side and try to match against Doinby.
Maintain that kill threat. Use the opportunity to scare Doinby on this signature Kled. Set Rogue Warriors up with their first loss on that Kled.
Exactly. Like, you have to put him down sometimes. Like, his ego is so massive on Doinby. But to be fair, even if Doinby loses this game, I still think he has the confidence to just pull it out blindly.
Yeah.
I mean, how many Fiora mids are there in the world?
At least one.
There's Keen and Icon. That's probably it.
Yeah, I forgot about Keen. Uh-oh. Doinby's working on the turret here. Yeah, this is the trade-off of keeping that Fiora bottom, is that Xiong is slowly losing health on this turret in between every wave. But Doinby's actually initiating a recall, and Icon is still pushing. Baron is up, so they could just be playing around those teleport windows. Uh-oh. Icon eats a few shots, jump down to half, tries to bait Mouse forward. 1, 2.
Dodges another one.
Looking for another one. That's the riposte. Icon hits all 4, but doesn't get the healing in time. Mouse finds the solo kill.
Yeah, it probably took
Speaking of
a
ego.
little too many tower shots, and that's the problem with this matchup. Like Fiora versus Mouse, I'm sorry, not Mouse. I call him Mouse because he pretty much
Mundo.
plays that champion
Yeah.
nonstop. Against Mundo, if Mundo is close to a wall, you can't actually kill him. Like it's very hard to actually get your ultimate off in that type of scenario and finish him off.
Even the Thorn Mail to make it even more difficult, and there was a stopwatch for Mouse, so never really any danger as he's baited into it, but it's not the Baron they want, it's the fight. Rogue Warriors start in the pit and end up chasing down mid lane. They find Jetco, and they get the kill. Now they can just go back and do the same play.
Yeah, the vaunted Rogue Warriors turn them around. Like whenever you're missing members, you have to stay as far away as possible from this team. Like the engaged potential is off the charts. There's no way you're running away from that.
Void Seeker from max range, teleport from Icon as he respawns. Xiong looking for the knockup, but gets denied the chance to get the Cult of the Forge God back. Baron picks up. OMG looking for the fight. Icon goes in, but look at the knockup. They've got Shelly in. They've got Icon doing damage. He's got himself a GA, and it's Rogue Warriors trying to get the turnaround, but Shelly with the chase. He needs one more auto, but doesn't find SMLZ as Icon finds the kill onto the bottom. And with that, Mouse will almost certainly die as he's actually turning on to Chelly for a lot. Stealth and stalls. Icon joins the fight, looking for more. That's the stopwatch still burning down. He's got the Thorn Mail, the knockup, but the GA is denied. Mouse, one against the world, will finally die as Rogue Warriors get aced but for one. SMLZ, the only person to survive with Baron.
And the big thing there was that OMG was able to force down the first target, get Icon's ultimate out. With everyone sitting in the regen, there was not much of a chance for Rogue Warriors to turn back that fight. Remember, this is a 4v5 to actually start out this scenario, but they do go in on Kahlua early. They take Kled down. Doinby goes into the fray, but he's caught between so many muscular frontline targets. Can't really do much, never finds Chelly. And the perfect anti-Kled composition comes out to work for OMG. Even though it was a 4v5, you could see the potential against the Kled.
The massive 5-stack is so dangerous from OMG. That Fiora and Kaisa absolutely shred through targets so quickly. Now they're actually trying to push onto Doinby here. Uh-oh, we talked about ego. This
Just
could be an opportunity for it. That's the Hextech ultimatum. I believe that was the charge used and denied in the ultimatum. Doinby dies as Chelly finds a kill. And OMG, could they be doing it? Could they be taking a win against the #1 team in their conference?
If so, they would be putting Rogue Warriors on a 2-game losing streak. Dropping down Invictus Gaming, dropping down to OMG would be quite a shocker. Remember, Rogue Warriors actually have the highest win rate of the LPL currently.
We'll have to double check that stat if OMG are able to close out this game. Because even with the Baron buff on SMLZ, it's good side wave control, a good collapse onto Doinby. And OMG are the ones setting up the siege, setting up the push. The group has 5. Flawless is there, True Shot Barrage, clears out the minion wave, and will effectively deny any further push from OMG, but they're still maneuvering around. Finally, the minion wave is moving forward, but OMG have already done the damage.
Think about this game. The only team fights that Rogue Warriors has been able to win are those 5v4s. They've actually never taken a 5v5. In fact, OMG just displayed that they could take on a 4v5 and still deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, if there's no way for the team to be split up, Rogue Warriors just don't have a chance.
So then, to come back to the statement that you made earlier, Game 1, Stake did his job in composition and it came down to missed execution from Rogue Warriors. In Game 2, can we still say the same?
I feel like they were definitely starting on the back foot.
Yeah.
Like this comp is, from OMG, is engineered to deal with you. It's a very purposeful decision to let the Kled go. They had a counter pick for it. If you think about all their positions, they all deal with Kled perfectly. it's actually very hard for Pled to go on to Chelly.
Uh-oh. Unless Chelly makes a mistake like that. It's caught by the True Shot Barrage. Xiang uses the Call of the Forge God, forced to use Gargoyle Stoneplate. They found Doinby teleporting into the back line. No, sorry, that's the charge. He's separated from his team, though. Xiang will be almost certainly trading his life back over as Chelly finds himself the kill. They trade 1-for-1 in terms of those frontliners.
Nim does walk into Alistar, unfortunately for him.
But look at that, Rogue Warriors still have another one. All right, maybe they can take this 4v4, if not a 4v5. Mouse is massive. 5 full items. And currently, 5's Ignite, which is now on cooldown, is the only Grievous Wounds.
They don't have any answer to Mouse at this point. It's actually incredibly hard to take him down. Like, usually you would see an Executioner's Calling being built by maybe Fiora or the bot lane.
The attempted sidestep. He does get the QSS across in order to break out of it, but SMLZ does not go forward to follow up with more damage. And the charge.
Oh, and he had such a
5
straight line onto Chelly.
Yeah.
Good move by 5 there to keep things away from him. So you can actually deal a lot of execution damage to Mundo if you are Chelly, but the big problem is how do you get him low first?
Yeah.
If you can take out half of his HP at the start of the fight, then you could argue yeah, maybe you could kill the Mundo without Grievous Wounds, but who's going to have to deal the first punch? That's a big question.
It's one that OMG are going to have to answer. They could look towards Icon. They could look towards... Well, that's pretty much it between Icon and Chelly. And that's the end of that discussion. We did see a Rando and Tillman now finished for Icon. He's getting some armor to try to deal with the damage that SMLZ is doing. As he did not go double tier, he's only got the single, and is now working towards his own 6th item. But Chelly seems to be slowing things down a little bit on his current build path towards the Mercurial Scimitar. He's having a bit of a difficult time dealing with the Mundo, as we've mentioned, needs to get that Executioner's Calling.
Yeah, he's also looking for that percent HP to possibly deal with him through attack speed as well. I actually feel like for OMG, the big team fight is going to come down to how can they lock down Kahlua. Kahlua is the easiest member for them to kill, and if you want to play with a Fiora in terms of a team fight, you have to focus on a single person.
Oh, Icon, with the best value ward of the game, spots out the attempt from Rogue Warriors to lash into the vision. They still manage to take the red buff as it spawns, but any picks at this point in the game would almost certainly mean a Baron or Elder Dragon, which are spawning in a minute each.
Things are getting very tense on this side of, actually on both sides, really.
Yeah. Rogue Warriors trying to bring us to game 3. OMG with the counter pick composition, that Fiora mid to deal with Doinby's Kled are answering back. Doinby even 2, 7, and 6. He's died 7 times. He's half of his team's deaths.
Well, if you're going in against the brick wall, that's kind of expected to happen. We are seeing Icon being required to deal with the Mundo in terms of the bot lane. He does have the percent true damage
on the vitals.
Yep. But it's a very slow process, to be honest, and you're going to have a very difficult time actually pulling that off in a real teamfight scenario.
There we go. Mundo is just chasing him away. Mouse, there's so much onus on him being a big frontline for his team, chasing Chelly down, denying both Chelly and Icon if he can. But currently he's busy split pushing. They found an engage under the side. From the darkness, they find Jekko as they 4-stack. He's got flash. Does he try to? Uses the ultimatum and immediately tries to reset, but SMLZ gets the kill. That's going to be a briefcase. Finding 5. Icon is split pushing on the opposite side, but the jungler of OMG is dead, and Rogue Warriors get to pick their buff.
And that was so lightning fast. So many members already waiting in position. The quickness comes over the wall in a blink of an eye. And of course, Sejuani was waiting there the entire time. Pled comes in as well, brings the entire team. It's going to be an objective trade.
Icon finishing off the inhibitor turret. Recall completed from Mouse. Icon is still there. That's the Randuin's first slow on to Mouse, and Icon decides he wants nothing to do with it. Yeah, Lunge gets him away. Mouse is still chasing this. Teleport is ready from SMLZ, as he actually teleports out onto the map to look for further chase. I love emotes.
Yeah, should just be both sides disengaging with each other. You do have their teammates right next by, but overall I would say Rogue Warriors are the big winners in this situation. There's only one one Drake onto OMG's side. The Elder Drake not actually meaning that much.
Does slow things down just a little bit.
But the big thing is that Rogue Warriors, is now going to have side lane advantage with Mundo, with the Baron buff. So they should be able to split OMG up, and we see what they can do.
Immediately breaking down a tier 2, no hesitation. They still have massive movement around the map with Doinby's charge now that he's level 3 on the ultimate. Chelly is trying to work through these minions, but needs to build up the plasma stacks to effectively do so as Icon steps forward to clear out the wave. Bottom tier 2 gone. Doinby working on mid tier 2. It soon will follow. And then that's a full 2 minutes on the Baron buff to break down an inhibitor. And still no grievous wounds except for 5's Ignite.
Well, they only have one target, so if he keeps his Ignite.
Yeah, they were so focused on counter picking out Doinby in the mid lane, setting up the counter Kled composition, they forgot about the counter Mundo, which is an item, not a champion.
Definitely is. It's so hard to deal with him at this point.
Yeah.
But you could see how Rogue Warriors is pushing so carefully, because if they actually get engaged by the 5v5, OMG would take the fight hands down. Like, if OMG have the correct fight setup and they're the ones that initiate, there's very little chance for Rogue Warriors to actually come out ahead. So you could see how Rogue Warriors is playing it. They push to the high ground and they instantly back off. They don't want to look for it.
They set up vision, they set up control to look for a counterplay if OMG were to try to go in, or maybe a pick of their own. But that's it. As Icon is pushing that wave bottom into the supers to buy himself time for the inevitable siege. 60 seconds on the clock for that Baron. As we are now 39 minutes into this game. The last game ended 100 seconds from now at 40 minutes and 40 seconds. Rogue Warriors, now they're the ones on the offensive.
They're trying to out-rotate OMG. Doing so quite successfully with Mundo, and no one's going to really dent him at this point.
Pushing 2 waves at once, they land some damage. That's Call of the Forge God. They managed to hit 5. He uses the ultimate early, 3-man knockup, but SMLZ's on the side. Doinby with the GA. Icon is looking for an opening. He dives in. Jekko gets caught in the Hextech ultimatum as well as reset to Chelly, firing as best he can. But where's the grievous wounds? What are you going to do to the Mundo? Chelly flashes it around, but Mouse walks him down. As Rogue Warriors win the fight on the counter engage and turn onto the inhibitor turret. An ace for Rogue Warriors.
Good fight start by OMG, but I think a critical situation there was that they could not proc the ultimate coming out from Icon.
Oh, Doinby! Did he just teabag in a professional game?
I think he did. I do believe that animation is known as teabagging. White flag from SMLZ as well. Goes down to the final big fight. I think a problem there with OMG was that they weren't able to keep their front line alive. I felt like they dived into the back of Rogue Warriors a little bit too fast. That was not a completely unwinnable or one-sided fight for Rogue Warriors in my eyes, but they needed 5 to do his job and keep the members of Rogue Warriors from coming onto the tower. Yeah, he used most of his skills to initiate, but he should be pushing the members back and just giving room for Chelly to do his damage.
What damage Chelly could do if you were able to attack anyone other than the Mundo, who just walked him down at the end of the game. A 40-minute affair just like game 1. And look at the damage. SMLZ did actually a massive amount of damage at 35,000. And despite OMG taking control during that mid-game from about the 16-17 minute mark, they just couldn't do anything with it against Mouse's Mundo, who was effectively set up and stalled out Icon, even though we got all the way to the inhibitor by the end of the game.
Yep, crucially, they did make the pick onto Flawless and then took down the Baron. That was a big game changer because before that, Icon was able to play with the side lanes, make sure that Rogue Warriors could never group up for that big final charge, but with the Baron buff, Kled was unleashed. He could push wherever he wanted to. Mundo, nobody built Grievous Wounds,
yeah,
which is kind of weird.
It's an item.
Morellan
Icon,
they thought that Ignite was enough for the team fight, but he can sustain through Ignite with no problems. Like his ultimate lasts, I believe, for 15 or 12 seconds. That's
I
a
don't
lot
have the
longer
exact
than
number.
Ignite.
Yeah.
That's far longer than the Ignite.
Oh yeah, a massive regeneration over the course of those massive fights. And of course, with the Gargoyle's Stone Plate and the
Sejuani was
Warlogs.
huge by the end
there are
of that
just
fight
so
as
many
well.
things that OMG had to deal with for the stack of Rogue Warriors. One thing that they didn't really have to worry about in that last team fight, though, was that Fiora. And we do have to talk about Icon in the mid lane because he got the counter pick. He got the Fiora into Kled matchup. He was able to get the kill and escape with his life so many times. The Hitman struck again, but it was constant attempts from Icon to open up the game for OMG, which they succeeded in doing, just couldn't quite close it out.
You 100% outplayed Doinby throughout, I'd say, most of the game, to be honest. But the big turning point for me was that Kled was still able to find that 4-man pick onto OMG after the first Infernal Drake. Sure, like, you could split push, you could be a great player, but the communication for OMG once again failed them a little bit.
Just walking behind the hitbox of Kled, hitting that second vital at the end. As you said, the communication has been an issue for OMG for so long. Like you even said it before the game. Icon is a marquee player. He is the franchise player for OMG. He's able to carry. He's able to play such huge champions like that Fiora. He's able to snowball and get these kills, but he can't carry the game himself. He can't carry the team himself.
It was a great experimentation coming out from OMG. I love what they did with the composition, and this was a 100% winnable game for them. I just feel like there was a number of points that felt very questionable for me. Like, number one was the was like them trying to go into the Infernal Drake.
Yeah.
I felt like that was like a huge mistake. The second one was Icon trying to duel Mundo underneath his tower. That was a bit of a question mark.
It was. And here's the attempt once again. As Doinby gets the flank on the side, Icon is split pushing without teleport. And the 4-stack of OMG decide to commit to it, and they just eat some powerful CC as Rogue Warriors chase them down, because that's never been a problem for Rogue Warriors. Initiation has never been a question, especially with a Kled.
Well, OMG didn't want to stay, but they were forced to stay anyway because of the Sejuani ultimate.
Against their will.
And that's just underestimating the power of the initiation coming out from the Kled composition. We've seen it so many times from Rogue Warriors. If they're stacked and they're doing the objective, you walk nowhere near there. If you have fewer numbers than them, you just don't go anywhere near them. You stick to your towers.
Yeah. And Doinby keeps his 100% win rate on the blind pick
6 in a
Kled. Not sure we should call it because of the Kled, though, or because Rogue Warriors were able to take the team fight off of the back of this, which I think is an interesting juxtaposition to how they have won off of that Kled in the past, where it has been Doinby who's able to roam and snowball these side lanes. This time around, he gets limited roaming, and it's in fact Mouse who gets to carry and set up for SMLZ to do massive damage.
I'll be honest, I feel like his Kled is still going to be banned to the end of time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those picks you can't do with any other champion. Like, with Kled on the composition, Rogue Warriors are just able to expand their repertoire, able to get those engages that most teams are not going to be even able to think about properly. And who's going to play Fiora mid? There aren't enough Fiora mid players to actually keep the Kled down. So I still feel that this doesn't change the general Kled priority for Rogue Warriors. You still ban it every game.
So then I want to follow up on that, because we could, to answer your question, Icon will play Fiora mid and outplay you multiple times and get these kills. Icon isn't the best mid laner in our league. We've got Rookie, we've got Xie, we've got Xiaohu, we've got massive names that are able to pick up this counter champion if they find themselves in a playoffs matchup against Rogue Warriors. Is it a compositional thing? Would a better team with OMG's same composition see success? Or was it just Rogue Warriors being the better team on the day?
They definitely would, but I would say practicing Fiora specifically to counter a Kled pick that you could just ban away is a massive time investment. Fiora is not an easy champion to pick up. You actually need, I'd say, at least 50 games
hours,
or something on that. And it's going to be very hard-pressed to find a mid laner who has 50 games on Fiora. Like, I really doubt you can actually do that.
Doinby probably does, but he's the Kled guy as well. Our MVP will go to Flawless for his setups from the jungle, landing those Glacial Storms onto Jelly so many times, and just being a comfortable front line for SMLZ to pump out massive damage by the end of the game.
Yeah, you could definitely see that in the final team fight where he had his Gargoyle Stone Plate, there was no way that Jelly could do anything with the Plasma damage anymore. The big thing about Plasma is that it's execution damage.
Yeah.
You still need to take the target slow, and they were unable to do that. So, you know, really bringing this LCK pick in early and showcasing that, unlike a lot of the LPL philosophy behind this pick, you can be very aggressive early game with it as well.
Yeah, and it certainly did pay off for Flawless. That said, we're going to go and take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Game 3 between Rogue Warriors and OMG. We'll be right back.